Good afternoon and welcome to a webinar from Linköping University. Today we're going to learn more about our first and only so far bachelor program, which is a BSc in Experimental and Industrial Biomedicine. Before I introduce my guests, who will tell you everything about the program, I just thought I'd go through a few housekeeping things. My name is Therese Winder and I'm a communications officer, so I'll guide you through this session. You can ask questions. Please do that in the questions section. You'll see there's a chat. You can just say where you're from and kind of get to know each other. But in the questions section is where we'd like you to put your questions. We will answer these at the end. So we'll be talking for about 20 to 30 minutes and then we'll open up for questions. The questions will be available for those of you watching this live. There'll also be many of you, I hope, watching this recording. And there are different ways of doing that, either on YouTube, we'll be putting this on YouTube later on, or you can do it on the platform that you're using now. And if you do that on the platform, you can actually put your questions in the question section and they'll be sent to us later on. So I think without further ado, I should let you introduce yourselves. Jonas, would you like to start?
Yes, thank you. My name is Jonas Wetterö. Although I seldomly use it, I do have an academic title, which is Associate Professor, and I mainly work with immunology. But I'm in this webinar since I'm the Program Director, basically.
Thank you.
So, hello everyone. I am Panos. I come from Greece. I'm 20 years old, and I'm studying Experimental and Industrial Biomedicine, this program. And right now I'm on my second year, first semester, so yeah.
Okay, excellent, great. And you've been here with us before, so
yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm Julia. I'm a third year student of this bachelor's program, so I'm in my final year. And I'm originally from Germany.
Mm-hmm. And Julia, we'll send you a link later on, but you'll see that we also have podcasts about what it's like to be a student. And Julia is in there. She's the podcast meister, I think. So yeah, you can listen to her there as well. Let's start by learning a bit more about the program. I thought, Jonas, you should maybe start with telling us why do we offer this program? I mean, why did we feel that there was a need to start this program?
Okay, I will. Yes, first of all, we have been teaching biomedicine for quite a while, for several decades, in fact, from our faculty. But we have realized that the students tend to end up working not only in the academia. So we have sort of totally reinvented our curriculum 4 years ago. And we teach the fundamentals in biomedicine and focus on basic knowledge, but added lots of important skills that you need to be able to work in several by employers in industry, academia, or elsewhere, basically. So that is the main reason why we changed the curriculum.
So it's combining really like an industrial or entrepreneurial point of view with a more lab-based approach?
Yeah, exactly. So you will learn both.
You'll learn both.
Very
so
much.
let's hear it from you guys. Kind of corroborate his story. Why did you choose this program? Let's start with Panos.
Yes, so back in high school in Greece, I remember I really liked biology and chemistry, so I kind of had like an idea on my head on what I wanted to do. And when I started looking into like what program I want to choose and stuff, I decided that I want to do research, like something research based. And also I wanted to like go abroad, study, and coming to this program and seeing the curriculum like with all the courses and stuff, it felt like it was the right thing to do. The research, the labs, also the group work. It was I feel like it was a nice choice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good one. We're going to have a look at the curriculum in a minute. But Julia, why did you choose the program?
Yeah, I was traveling a lot after I did my high school diploma a couple of years back. So I felt like I wanted to keep myself in a very international environment. And I think Linköping University is just perfect for that because it's a very international university. It has loads of international students. And of course, well, the program sounded very interesting and I liked the combination of academia and, well, the industry because I'm still not really sure where I want to go and I still have a couple of years until I guess I need to decide, but it's nice to get to know both.
And nice to keep the doors open.
Exactly.
Great. We actually have, you were talking about the curriculum, we actually have a couple of slides, and I thought we could talk through the topics and the courses offered. There we are.
Yes.
Jonas, would you like to kind of just
I can just
give an overview?
give a very brief guide you through the two slides. So first of all, what is really typical about our organization of the various courses is that you have courses in parallel. You typically have 5 courses per each semester, and you have 4 courses that are devoted to specific subjects, and 1 project course. And so the very typical thing about this program is that we work a lot in project-based groups. So you work together in groups and sort of target a specified task already from the start of the program. So if you look at the first semester, you see there is a project course called Biomedical Product Development. So immediately from scratch, you actually start by actually accomplishing something together as a group as well. And this continues throughout the curriculum. So while you still have more traditional courses like in cell biology, chemistry, etc., we add on for each semester these project courses. So in the second semester, you will have bioentrepreneurship course. Later on, we add this, that you need to be able to deal with multiplexed data, which is becoming ever more important in the life science area. So then we have a project course in bioinformatics of big data. Next slide, please.
Actually, before we go to the next
Okay,
slide.
sorry.
Sorry, Luke. Let's go back to the slide. I'm just thinking the first slide.
Yeah.
So you kind of have blocks in a way. So you study 3 courses at any one time. So you do the first 2, and then you have the project course that runs the entire semester.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so you may have then written exams in the mid-semester and toward the end of the semesters as well. And the project courses, with one exception, runs throughout the entire semester at a slower pace and longer calendar time.
So that's that. So this is basically what you have done. Panos, you're in your 3rd semester.
Exactly, yeah.
And even though the courses might not be exactly the same, what's been your favorite topic?
So far, I really like the programming course, because we have a course called the project course, Bioinformatics of Big Data. So getting into programming seems like really interesting, because you get a little bit of like technology also in your program, and yeah, I think it's really good. And also, as we said, it's a group work, so I get to like work with new people that I haven't like really talked to out of university. So you also like get to work with new people, and this is very good for like building new tasks and habits. So yeah.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Great. And then we'll hear your experience, because you're a bit further along. But then we can move on to the next slide. Luke.
Yes, so just moving on. So then in the 4th semester, we also have a project course on drug development. And I think we are the only biomedicine program doing this, that we actually let our students do their degree project in the 5th semester. And it's a long degree project. And we encourage students to find degree projects, not only in academic research groups, but you can do it in companies elsewhere, which is perfectly fine as well.
Why have you chosen to do that? Why have you chosen to put the degree project in there?
We have chosen to put the degree project in the 5th semester so that the students can actually learn something from outside of the university and bring it back and communicate the experiences to the other students.
That sounds good, yeah. So this is, again, similar. You do 3 courses at a time, pretty much.
Yep.
and then you have the one of them is the long one. And you're in the project stage.
Exactly.
How's it
semester
going?
fifth. Oh, it's been very busy. But if you ask me, this has been the most fun semester because you get to choose the project, well, almost yourself. You choose a research group, for example, or you orient yourself in the industry. And speaking for myself, I'm interested in neuroscience, so I chose a lab that works with brains and neurodegenerative diseases, for example. And then you just communicate with your supervisor what project fits to the group and what are you interested in, what are you capable of doing in these couple of weeks.
Oh,
so
great.
it's-
What's the title? What's your thesis title?
There's no final title yet. I still have a few weeks left.
Okay.
But I'm studying a ribosomal protein and its involvement with neurodegenerative related stressors.
Oh, sounds difficult and interesting.
Yeah, it sure has been, but a lot of fun and a lot of real experience as well, because you get to be in the lab a lot and you get to schedule your own experiments, and you do learn a lot.
Yeah, I saw you yesterday. We actually talked on Teams, and I saw Julia in the lab with the outfit, and you looked very professional.
Thank you.
Yes, looked right at home. And the other courses, when you look back on the program, what's been your favourite topic?
It's a good question, because I think I just like that there is such a huge mix of different topics, because, well, this is a bachelor's program. This is supposed to be very, it's supposed to prepare us for a more detailed master's program, for example, or for a PhD further down the road. But actually, I also really enjoyed the programming course, because you get to learn how to program in R from scratch. There's no experience needed, and the teacher is really great as well.
That's true, yeah.
That's really interesting to hear that. You both really enjoyed that, because I don't know, for me it's surprising. I didn't even know that was part of it. I'm thinking how this program, are there similar programs in other places, and if so, how is this different?
There are there are biomedicine bachelor programs in Lund and Karolinska. I think what differs us from those is this really project-oriented and more entrepreneurship approach.
Mm-hmm. So that's a unique thing about this program, it prepares you for maybe being the next ones to start the next. Who are they? Moderna? Pfizer? Who knows? If you become billionaires, please remember me. Let's talk about expectations and workload on the program, because it's a bachelor program. What background does an applicant need? If we start by you, kind of.
The background is that you must, meet the requirements, obviously, but a background in science, basically, science-oriented subjects. Mm-hmm. And I think you should also be curious on, knowing more about this the entire life science field, I would say. Mm-hmm. And you should also or be prepared to actually interact and collaborate with other people, I think is an important part of it. But because we focus a lot on helping each other and sort of moving forward together. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes,
which very much reflects
building.
The workplace,
yes.
where you,
yes.
you seldom work on your own. What would you two say? What in your background? I assume you both enjoyed science at school.
Yeah, as I said, I really liked chemistry and biology. And when I came here, we have the basic courses when we start, basic chemistry and cell biology, which really helped. But I think you should get intrigued for thinking about research. So as soon as you think research, then you should be intrigued. And this science background that you build upon that, then it really helps to get on this program. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So a curious mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What about you?
I did study biology and chemistry in high school, but my focus was actually on history and politics. But that had other reasons, like that didn't mean I wasn't interested in biology. Actually one of my favorite subjects. So that's also why I thought, well, science is pretty cool. And I think as long as you're curious and you don't get tired of asking questions, because science is a huge question. And once you think you have solved one, there are 10 more coming up.
Yes.
And you don't even know if you're right or wrong.
Another mutation appears, yes.
And I think that's a great part about it. Like always like thinking what's the next step, and this is what I love about this program, that also like in these group projects you work a little bit alone with your group, so that's really good, and you see how much in depth you should study this topic or not. So it's really good to work a bit on your own and see like how it is. So yeah, because you get to experience the full like magic of it.
It's never the same.
Yeah,
And that's
Oh,
the
that's
nice
good.
thing about it.
yeah. I think that's an important point. It's never the same because repetitive, just it becomes old quickly. What about the workload and your schedule?
Well, to be honest, there is a lot of workload, and I feel like that's how it should be. We are studying like in a university, and there should be a lot of workload. But as long as you have a good program and you keep everything like structured, then I don't think you will have a problem. So, and that's also one tip I could give: don't cram. If you decide to come, don't cram everything at the last month, for example. You should have like a good program, well structured, so everything will flow perfectly. So yeah.
So yeah, I think that's an important point. The time management, and there is support at the university. We have study counsellors who can help you set up some kind of plan to stay on top of it. Because even though some students who do arrive say, "Oh, it looks so nice," there's only 3 courses. Because in a lot of other universities you have several courses in parallel, and then you have end of year exams. Whereas here it's like, oh, these 2, and then there's the exam. Oh, that's great. But you need to keep on top of it because otherwise you will get behind. What would you say about the workload?
Right now is a bad time to ask me because I'm in the final weeks of my bachelor thesis project. So of course it's very busy and I've been spending loads of long hours at the lab. But that is just an exception, and I know it's just for a few weeks, and it's worth it.
Yeah, and also like we are doing something that we are enjoying. Yes. So even if the workload is like too much, there's always time where you read an article and you think like, wow, that's really good, and you just you don't see it as like a burden. You see it as like a good thing, So yeah, it's nice.
You're actually reading something that you enjoy, that you have an interest in.
Exactly.
But when the schedule, so is the schedule, when you're not in the lab, do you have lectures and seminars? Is it 8 to 5, or is it more? How is it structured?
I think it depends on the day. Some days you might start lectures from 8 in the morning and then finish like if you have labs, for example, also finish at 4 in the evening. But it really depends on the day. You might have like one seminar and one lecture another day. So it's kind of mixed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you will always be busy. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It's usually more lectures in the beginning of the semester or of the beginning of the course to sort of give us the theoretical knowledge. Mm-hmm. And then we continue, of course, with group work and labs. And then towards the exam period, we usually get a little more time to sit down and study by ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you, and that's when the structure really comes into it, that you need to make sure. So I think this is, it's important to mention that, there is this expectation of 40 hours per week, and we were talking about the experience of students who wish to work their way through university, and how that's often not a very good idea. No.
Essentially,
no.
Of course, minor things as extra work may work for many, but not as the main. Not as to support you as a main income. That's not a very good idea, I would say.
No. This is a program that you need to devote yourself to for 40 hours per week. Before we talk a bit more about, I want to hear about the student life as well. But I'm just thinking we should talk about the ideal student. So, when I say the ideal student, I mean the student who would enjoy this program the most, who would get the most out of this program. So you were talking about somebody with a curious mind, somebody with an interest in science. What about reading and writing, English? It's kind of, how important is that?
Very.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's very important. You study in English, so all the terms you learn, it's in English. So you basically have to be like really fluent when it comes to writing and speaking, and you should be really comfortable. But yeah, I mean, there are new terms that you're going to learn anyways. But the main point is that you should be comfortable with English. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what I can say from my experience during the first semester, I was pretty lost, because of course you learn English but you don't talk about science in school in English, or at least not, well, to a certain extent. But there's so many new words and phrases that you're just so unfamiliar with. But that's also what the first semester is there for. It is the basic courses to teach you everything you need to know to progress throughout the program. So you don't need to have a perfect science vocabulary. As soon as you get to Linköping, it will all come step by step.
And I think that's a good thing, because when you start studying in English, then you're able to like in the long run you're able to not relearn things from your language to English. You start from English, so it's international. You can talk with everyone. For example, if I started studying in Greek and then I had to relearn everything that I learned, it would be kind of hard. So
it's all new.
Yeah, especially if you want to move abroad and work somewhere else, you already know all your working terms. It's much easier to learn it in English straight away.
Yeah.
Straight away. I mean, that's a good point, I suppose, because you don't have to, the confusion. It's like I learned to drive on the left-hand side, actually. And everybody's like, wasn't that difficult? And I'm like, but I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I think it's the same. It's kind of, if you don't know anything else. But I think also in terms of writing generally in English, it's something that can be more challenging when you haven't done that before.
yeah, I mean, it's true. You have many assignments and they're all in English, and you have to be comfortable with writing, and
But again, you do practice a lot throughout the semesters. Like no one needs to come as a perfect scientific
That's
writer.
true,
That's
yeah.
impossible.
Yeah. And there is help and support, and I can't emphasize this enough. You ask your classmates, you ask the course coordinator, the program director, and as I said, the study counselors. So reach out if you're struggling. Reach out, and no question is a stupid question or too small.
And if I may add, it will help you in your future career, because I mean the professional language in life science is basically English.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I'm going to ask a bit about student life, but in terms of the academic side, was there anything that you think, I should have kind of read up on before I came here?
Chemistry,
yeah,
all-time favorite.
Yeah.
If you don't have a lot of chemistry in high school, or only on a somewhat basic level, I would definitely read up on that. People who've done IB, I think they're good to go, because I know that IB is very extensive in chemistry. But from regular high schools, you might want to look into the books.
I bet. Did you do an IB program?
No, I didn't do IB, but I think like high school knowledge you have on the first courses, it kind of like excels a bit. It gets more, but I think you should be good to go. Like if you start studying a bit on basic biology and basic chemistry for your first courses, then everything will make sense
will
in
come
the
on there.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Student life.
Wow.
What's it like?
Yeah. Oh my God. For me, it's like I find it so fascinating that you always get to meet like new people, and everyone here is like so like open on socializing, and especially now that everything is back on the university, I get to meet many people and like talk a lot, and and also like it's an important thing, I know. Like parties are also a thing here, yeah. So it's really good. Yeah.
Good parties, but make sure you manage your studies first.
Yeah, of course.
Work hard, then play hard.
Exactly.
Yes. That about you?
I just love the idea of overalls that Swedish universities have. So I think it's every university in Sweden, right?
I think
that has different overalls that I like for people who usually paint as a job or who are mechanics.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of those workwear
Exactly.
overalls.
Yeah.
And then every section they have their own, and
They have
and
different
you,
colors and different
Yeah.
models, and some tuck their arms in, and others don't even have arms.
no, and you have patches based
Yes.
on events that you've been to.
Yeah.
I have never done this, but but it's apparently it's a really fun aspect of
Oh yeah,
of student life.
there are parties where you're only allowed in with your overall.
Oh yeah.
And of course you need to have an overall inauguration. So there's loads
Yeah.
of things involved with the overall, and I think it's a great piece of memory to take.
Yeah,
back
and it's
home.
something that bonds you together with your group.
And speaking of like bonding together, like Nolle period, it's like when you're a first year student coming to the university, second year students will help you like feel better with your classmates and get to meet, so they will organize these activities for you. So that was also a really nice memory. In fact, Julia. Yes.
What do you call that? Is it big sisters and brothers, or is it buddies? Do you call yourself something like that?
Mentors.
Oh, just
In
mentors.
English,
Okay, mentors.
father in
Oh, okay,
Swedish.
you're mentors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's
We
good.
organized the reception period to help them settle in Linköping and get to know the university.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we did the same for these for the first year students this year. So it kind of like passes on. It's like an event that happens every year. So
There are many student traditions.
Yeah.
exactly.
What? How many students are in your years?
Or in my year, it's around 30.
Yes, and we are around like 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite a large group. You know, enough to find someone that you like.
Yeah.
What about accommodation? Do either of you live in a student corridor?
I don't, but you do.
Yes, I live in a student corridor very near the university. This was also very new, and I really like it so far because like you get to meet like new people like every 6 months that come for Erasmus, and yeah, it's really nice like going to the kitchen, making your breakfast, and like talking with someone. It's always like this communication thing, and
It's a
that
communal hall. I should explain the corridors that we have is it is literally a corridor with I think it's 8 rooms coming off it. So every student has their own bedroom with their own bathroom, and then there is a communal kitchen living area. So you have your own space where you can study, but you also have an area to be social. And these 8. So have you been in the same corridor for the entire 3 semesters?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been in the same one, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I think it's although it's exactly what you need. I don't think you need like a whole apartment. Like it's fine. It works like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also the cheapest way to live,
Exactly.
basically.
Yeah.
How did you find your?
Oh yeah, something that is really important. You have to sign up for the queuing system here in Sweden. There is a queuing system that basically you sign up and then you get points every day that passes, and it helps you get an accommodation. So basically how it works is someone that is older in the queuing system will get an apartment first than me. So that's why it's really important to start as soon as possible, get on the queuing system, so then you can find your place. So that's how I found it. 1 year before coming here to study, I signed up, and
Yeah.
I got an
So the
apartment.
most points, just taking sure they're older in the queuing system. We're not talking about age. We're talking about points. Points. So we're not giving priority to our seniors. It's about points. So have a look at our accommodation page. And sometimes it's difficult to sign up with a housing company if you don't have a Swedish personal number. If you don't, contact them directly. But even now, before you've applied, if you're thinking about studying here, you should sign up, because it doesn't cost anything, and as soon as you start accumulating points, the better. But there's also housing companies who have corridors, I think, who don't do this system. But you should get in touch with them. That's a really good piece of advice. And you live in an apartment.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've moved quite a few times
Yeah.
ever since I moved here in the first place. I usually just jump from one second-hand contract to the other. So they're usually limited on like a year or half a year, and then you have to find something new. I mostly found my housing through friends that have friends, and we're friends, you know. If you get to know people, you get to know how to get an apartment.
So get involved. Get involved
Yes,
with, you know,
meet
this
people.
kind of exactly networking. So get
Yes.
involved with Nolle P and this kind of mentors group and everything.
Definitely helps.
Yeah.
You can also look on Facebook. There are very many Facebook groups, but of course, be aware of scammers. Don't
Yeah.
pay anything in advance.
No, the housing companies, they're all right. So they're official ones, and they're on our LiU.sc, I think it's /accommodation. Those are fine. But if you find any housing on Blocket, which is kind of our eBay in a way, or Facebook, don't part with any money before you've seen anything. That's important. Right, we are going to move on to questions. One, what do you wish you'd known?
What I wish I would know. This I learned the hard way. Don't cram everything the last month, like before exams. Don't do it. Don't, guys.
Don't.
Exactly. Yeah. But now that I know about it, it's like I start studying from the first, when the semester starts, and everything is much easier. So you don't have to cram everything, like cram studying and get this like being anxious. So yeah, that's a tip that I would give and that I wish I would known.
Yeah. Julia?
I wish I would have known how welcoming Sweden is. I've only been to Sweden once before I moved here, and I thought, well, it's nice, I guess, yeah. But actually, especially the reception period is just pure joy. It's been really fun. I would say very 2 good weeks that everyone should take part in. So if you come and study our program, make sure that you arrive early on before the roll call is and before the program starts to experience student life and to get to know your older students, because we're the ones that are going to help you throughout the next 2 years.
Exactly.
We give you old exams to study. If you have questions, we help you. It's just a very nice social community.
Yeah, it's really important that you have someone to like ask some questions that knows more about it. So it's not only like for 2 weeks they organize some events. Older year students are always there for you. You can reach them, ask questions. So
That's
it's
really nice.
Yeah.
I don't remember that from my degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly, you're bonding, and then in the future you'll network and get the right jobs and everything. But no, that's really nice to hear. Yeah, but it's nice to hear that it is that way. Thank you. I'm going to round up this session, our conversation, and open up for questions from you guys. But before I do so, I'm going to say a few things, because we're going to say goodbye to those of you who are watching this recording. The quickest way to get an answer from us is to reply to an email that you've received from us. So hit respond here, and we'll get back to you within a couple of days usually. Have a look at our social media and connect with us there. So we got Facebook, Linköping University. We got Instagram, which is again linköping.university. And our Instagram account is run by a student every week, a different student every week. So they show you their life. You've done it. Yes.
It's going to be my turn during Christmas again.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so
good,
if you have any questions, especially about this program, make sure to send me a message.
Yeah. So Christmas, definitely put that in your calendars. But you can see, I mean, there's lots of kind of, I think you have reels and stories and everything, but it's about life here. So you can just see what daily life and life as a student is like. Again, the blog, which is blog.liu.sc, and then really long, /international program students at LiU. We apologize for that one. Have a look at that one again. Are you participating? You still in that one too?
Yes.
And our students write again tips such as this: don't cram everything into the last week, or do come a bit early so that you can take part in everything. But there's also tips about where you get cheapest second-hand bikes or furniture, where you can get certain types of food, or there's lots of really, really good content there. And the podcast that I mentioned at the beginning, Fika with Us, which Julia and Rebecca are hosting. It sounds like you're kind of
everywhere.
Go-to person. But as you've noticed, this program does have fantastic students. So that's why. So I'm going to say goodbye to those of you who are watching this recording, and thank you for having joined us. And open up for questions from everybody else.